Thank you very much for staying true. You've listened to Vivian Daniel on that viewpoint, talking about Nigerians backing the use of, beavers as an accreditation and, a device for INEC for 2023 elections. Even the papers to the Hope, it was said that there is no going back on the use of beavers. Some people are trying to sabotage it. Some have gone to court to say INEC should not use beavers, just like they tried with the smart calendar in 2015. But the presidency said there is no going back because that's a game changer.
Yes.
So you will not be able to change the result of from polling units to ward or ward to local government and all of that. Anyway, enough of election. We've been discussing vote buying and now beaver. So in this second segment, we have brought an agriculturalist, an entrepreneur, who will be taking us through. People have been saying that food prices are eating the roof. I recall that Maureen just even said the bag of rice is unprecedented. It's like 40,000 now, and Christmas is yet to even just by the corner. But it's not only rice.
Other items
yes, are on there. So
you'll be surprised. Even the prices you get today might not be what you get tomorrow. So you get to meet new prices at the markets at different times.
The egg that we used to buy 6 for 200 now is like 200 pounds. So Michael is here. He's an agriculturist. He's studied agric at Ahmadu Bello University, and he's a former farmer. He said he used to own a farm. He will tell us why you have to abandon. Is it because of bandits that you abandon farming or whatever? But Michael is our guest. We'll be talking to us on food insecurity and the rising cost of commodities. Hope you want to fire the first sound.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, I want to appreciate ITV and Dr. Jide Ojo and everyone that have brought us first. Firstly, we need to understand what is my food insecurity. Yeah, before you can understand food security, you need to understand what is food security. Food security is affordability and accessibility at all times. When you talk about food insecurity, you will not be able to afford it, and also involve prices increases and fluctuations. And there are so many reasons into that. The first reason which I must say about this food security is the population is growing. And when the population is growing, the available food is not sufficient. Then another reason is the climate change issues, whereby it's affecting productions. And the temperature is going over here, and fluctuation of the rainfall. The insurgence issue also causes, whereby farmers cannot be able to go to their farms to go and do some farming activities. Even I also read it in some of the newspaper that transportation from the farm gates to the market, they face a lot of things. And the issue of technology, low technology, whereby people still farm in a small order, issues scatter farming. Then the high cost of inputs, that is the pesticides and the insecticides. These are all compresses that make the food security and the prices of food to be very high.
Okay, so how do you think Nigerians, have been able to manage? Because with all this that you mentioned, and at every time you go to the market, you just get to see prices of items skyrocketing. At every day you go to buy it, at the market. How do you think? Because it's kind of looking like it's looking tough. How do you think Nigerians have been able to cope? At different times you get seeing prices of commodities, at the market.
Yeah, that's a good question. My own take is that we Nigerians, we are used to a lot of sufferings, which is also be, and it's painful that you are passing through this. And I want to say that it's not only in Nigeria, it's also in troublesome places like Sudan, they are facing it. So to your question, Nigeria are coping in a difficult ways, whereby instead of eating 3 square meals, just like they said, some people struggle to eat 1 meal or 2 meals. So that is
But Michael, that has been our story from years back. I recall that Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey did an album in the 80s talking about Formula 010. I don't know if you heard that. You possibly scored in the north. Maybe you are just Yoruba, bro. But you know, there is this popular juju musician that sang about people austerity measures and people having to use formula to eat. Some will eat only once a day, 010. Some 101. Some 001, which means the one there is when you have your meals. So if you have 101, that means you eat twice a day. If you have 010, that means you eat once a day, which is so. That was in the 80s that Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey released that album. And from that time till now, we are still talking about rising cost of items. I listened to you. You read out about 7 reasons why this is so, from insecurity to climate change, which has caused flooding, to even the low technology input. But Nigeria is not the only country in the world that is affected. But what are we doing wrong that have not made us to overcome this food security challenge?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a good question, which I'm also thinking about. I think the government of the day, they are trying their own best to do that. But what's supposed to be doing, they still need some enable environment, that a good policy, to initiate a good policy whereby it will help the farmers to produce in large quantities. Because presently the people that is feeding the whole nation now, they call them peasant farmers, whereby they only plant for themselves and the little they sell in the market. So what needs to be done, number one, is that the government should take agriculture serious, whereby the issue of inputs, whereby they subsidize input for the farmers, so that at the end of the day, the prices which they go to the market will be able to be low, because if they can get the inputs at a subsidized rate. Another aspect which is also green, which I'm even worried every day and night, I worry, is transportation. Presently now, I'm starting to be corrected. I'm looking at a way whereby we have transportation, mass transit, majorly for agriculture. Because mostly the farmers are suffering a lot to convey their food from the inner most of the farming community to bring it to the market. That one also added to it. Apart from the issue of transport, the transport also spoiled some of the goods. As agricultural produce, it damages it because there is no effective way. Then, just like you said, this issue of technology, the extension services need to be proactive enough. When we talk about proactive enough in the extension services, that dissemination of agricultural information, whereby from the research institute to the university, whereby the farmers can be able to get new technology of production, new technology of harvesting, new technology of preservation, new technology of even be able to market their produce. Then another area which the government can come in is involving the private sectors, and the private sector can also help the farmers in input delivery. Then the private sector can also have a warehouse, whereby during the season where the agricultural produce is much, the warehouse can build, and when there is no agricultural produce during the dry season, the warehouse. Then another area is partnership with some organizations that are into food production. Then the aspects which I also want the government to be proactive on to address your question is setting up processing centers. Most of the agricultural produce need to be processed to attract more prices. When we talk about prices, that when we talk about processing, there's a lot of value chain in processing so that it can be attractable. Then another green area is these security issues. Majorly the security issue is very, because many farmers cannot go to their farms
Was that the reason you left farming yourself?
Yes, exactly, because I was having a farm.
You studied agriculture, yes. And you said you used to have a farm. What made you to stop farming?
Yeah, there's a lot of things in that make me to stop. So one is personal, then two, the tedious aspect of it. You know, agriculture is very tedious.
But why did you study it?
Yeah. What I'm saying is very tedious is that we need to use commercial. I believe in commercial agriculture, whereby you use mechanized farming, whereby we have tractors. Then farming is tedious if you don't have enough capital, and that's why government need to come in to help those who are looking.
But wait, Michael. Yeah. You see, I won't allow you run away with just dropping these things. This administration of Buhari has spent trillions of naira on anchor borrowers program. And was it last year or 2 years? I don't know. Oh, you saw the rice pyramid that this administration showcased somewhere along Airport Road. That look, we are now self-sufficient in rice production. So if you are talking of farmers being encouraged, there is Bank of Agriculture that gives loan to farmers, Bank of Industry that gives loans to farmers, Anchor Borrowers Program, where this administration, if I do a check, it's about 1 trillion that has allegedly been disbursed to farmers. Because I recall that during the Democracy Day celebration and even October 1, the president, as part of his speech, talked about how they have stimulated the agric sector to be more productive, and that we have been able to cut down substantially on our food imports. So if government is doing all of this and you are still saying government should do this, government should do that, they will tell you, but we have been doing this. And you are talking of partner. I agree with you to the extent of maybe storage facility.
Yes.
The silos, I don't know whether we have enough silos. Yes. But in terms of maybe states are not also pulling their weight, leaving everything to the federal government. But I know this Anchor Borrowers Program, the Bank of Industry, the Bank of Agriculture, and several other initiatives. Unless you, as an expert, you are telling us maybe the loans are not given to the genuine farmers. Is that the situation?
Actually, it's B, but the issue again that which you so need to understand is the growing of the population. Major population growth is growing very explosive compared to the food we are producing. The government have tried their own best, but another area you need to look at is the private sectors. How many people are into agriculture? You're supposed to also have an agricultural farms.
I don't have a land.
That is another area which I wanted to say that the government cannot access to land is also a big problem. We should encourage people to go into agriculture, especially the area that you can also go in information, dissemination, extension services. It's not only farm. It can also be, I want to talk about marketing. You know where the agricultural produce is, you know the price they are getting it, you buy it, and you
so like hope now can be supplier of eggs. You know, just go and buy from the poultry and bring it. But you also raised the issue. He raised the issue of high cost of transportation. Because most of the vehicles that are used to convey this are diesel vehicles. Articulated vehicles don't use petrol. They use diesel. And the price of diesel is like over 800 per litre.
And the aftermath effect will be on the consumer.
Exactly.
And presently now, we don't have anything on agricultural mass transit, which
but this administration will also claim, Michael, that they have been able to revive the train services. And train is the means of mass transit. Because we have cargo trains.
Exactly.
You know, trains that it's just that you know, they've just done the Lagos Ibadan rail service standard gauge, then Abuja to Kaduna, but that have been suspended arising from which brings us to the issue of insecurity.
We were still talking about it, how it affected you know, to stop farming. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, firstly, the farming communities are having problem of insecurity challenges. It may be cattle herdsmen, whereby when you are planting, they allow your plant to grow. At the end of the day, when you want to harvest, they clear everything.
They bring their cattle to come and graze on your farmland.
Exactly, that's the right word. Then the other areas which insecurity also affects is when we talk about transportation, whereby they want to convey their goods. There's some terrain that is not good area.
Okay.
Bad roads. Even we also learned that they also kidnap farmers in some areas.
Quite a number of farmers have been abducted, yes.
Then insecurity also mean with crop failures also, where we have pests and diseases.
Like quiver bears,
yes. But there's an alternative to that, insurance aspect of it.
Okay. Yeah, run us through that. I've heard people saying you need to insure your farm.
Yes.
You need to. What?
Is there a program on that? Is there a program on that from?
Yeah, we have a government institution that does that, whereby you insure your crop in respect to crop failures, whereby you can have different kind of plans so that you will be able to curtail when there is any savage problems. But insurance have limitation.
Do they provide fertilizers?
No.
No. Insurance is that in the event of crop failures or natural disasters,
like flooding, like the flooding that happens.
That took place. All our farms are land has been wiped out.
But the issue there is that you must also be able to be paying your premium.
Yes.
The other area that which you also look at as marketing aspect, they need to revise the marketing mode. I don't know if you also subscribe to control price mechanism, whereby
how do you control price also? It's not sufficient.
Because
from my own, I mean, you can correct me, Mike. This food prices respond to supply and demand.
Yes.
If it's mango season, they will even be begging you buy cheap.
Yes.
When it's not mango season, it becomes scarce.
Yes.
Same with plantain, same with some other food items and citrus crops.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at how do you control price when it's like when they said they want to control rent in Abuja.
Yes.
You didn't build a house for me. I took bank loan, built my house, and you are saying that 2 bedrooms should not be more than 500,000 naira. Meanwhile, to buy a plot of land is in millions. To buy, building materials is in millions. So the same thing, you have highlighted the challenges farmers face, including insecurity on their farms. Now they produce maybe 10 bags of grains, and you are now saying government is now telling you cannot sell this grain more than 5,000 naira. That means you want me to run at a loss. So I don't think the idea of
the idea there is that the media also have to do their own diligence. What that diligence is that publish the prices of agricultural goods, which is very important. Like the prices in Gogolada and Abuja town is quite different, but it varies. But the ways to go about it is that there must be a benchmark, and the government have to do that. By the time I have the information that a mudu of beans is 800 and another area is 1,000, but the question that what makes it 1,000, but I have to have the information on what makes it 1,000, that be unified prices across.
We don't have it uniform because we still see some persons giving prices at how much they spend on transportation.
Yeah,
so we don't have it uniform.
Yeah, because to transport from Abaji to Gwagwalada is not the same amount you pay to transport to the same market.
There must be a benchmark of that.
Okay, I agree, but you have also raised something. But I don't know whether you heard him. When he said, even in the process of transportation, there is a lot of post-harvest losses.
Damages.
It's not losses. It's before we come to damages, yes, I know when you carry oranges, carry tomato, carry plantain, some of them, if they are not well packaged, can got damage in the court because of bad roads.
Yes.
But this issue of post-harvest losses, Michael, what does it mean? I received a shocking news that we have in some areas for some crops about 40% post-harvest losses, which means 40% of what you produce gets destroyed or you lose them before you can even bring them. So how do you curtail this post-harvest?
Yeah, when we talk about harvesting and transportation, there's always a time lag whereby you need to do the necessary things. Like when we talk about cassava now, when we harvest cassava, there is 24 hours difference. So post-harvest losses, the way to contain it is that the farmers need to have the technology on when we talk about the water content when they are harvesting. The period of harvesting is also important, because if you harvest produce when it's not well matured, there are destinies that you lose some of the value. The way to talk about post-harvest losses again is adding value to what you produce. That one reduce, just like groundnuts. When we talk about groundnut now, you can add value to it. Then you need also an expert on that post-harvest losses, whereby you get more information on that. But I can agree with you that farmers lose a lot, and that will lead to post-harvest losses, which the research institute needs to come into that also to do some research work whereby the post-harvest losses can be contained to a minimum.
Okay, so let's talk about how inadequate electricity supply affects food production, from the business owners now, the manufacturers of manufacturing companies, that do production work. How does it affect them? Because I know you have a lot to say about that, because I know it's one of the causes of...
being mentioned, but it's one of the major causes. When we talk about electricity, electricity play a vital role in agricultural production.
Yes.
Yeah, when you harvest, you need to do some to change it, and mostly they call it processing. Like when you talk about rice, where you harvest your rice, you need to go to a lot of stages before you can get the real rice, and you need energy.
From the paddy
there's a lot of stages, and you also need machineries.
Polish rice
before you can get it to the end product. Then when we talk about energy, when you have a farm, you can irrigate your farm. When you are irrigating your farm, you need electricity to supply the water to the farms. Then electricity is also important in the agricultural sector, because like gari now, if you want to process your gari, you need machine to do that.
Food preservation.
Because
all these people who are doing frozen food, who are selling frozen food. If you don't need have electricity, you go and buy diesel. At 800 per liter to power.
But we still get the aftermath effect on
it's all aggravated to the result of price increases. When we talk about machinery, when we want to clear a line, you need plow now.
Michael, because of time, and let's look at the value chain. You hinted at it in the course of the adding value. People have said that the reason why we are not getting why farmers are not getting premium prices for their products is that they sell raw.
Exactly.
So you harvest cassava, you sell raw. Meanwhile, if you process it into ethanol. Into what the pharmaceutical company can use, you make more money. The same thing with yam. Somebody brought the technology of processing plantain into ipekere or the chips. Plantain chips. That's value addition. Rather than selling a bunch on the road.
Because the price will be quite different. You that add value to it.
You add value. So why is it that people have not embraced this idea of, is it that the technology is not there, or is too expensive for people to look into the processing, agricultural processing, adding value in order to earn more income?
We in the agricultural sectors, or those who are not into agri, they thought agric is just planting, but there's a value chain, and that value chain you mentioned is adding value. Then adding value, I also look at some aspect of what it takes to add value to it, the importance of adding value, just like you said. Because apart from adding value, it also protects the life shelf of the crop.
The shelf life
of the crop. So why people doesn't do that? They don't look at it as very important. Let me just produce. But in developed country, adding value is the most important thing they emphasize, and that's why the role of the government have to also involve a policy whereby you encourage people to add value to what they produce. So at the end of the day, they can attract high prices, and people will be able to look at agriculture as the green area. So what the journalists can also do is that to popularize the issue of adding value. If you want to export your agricultural produce, mostly agricultural produce of Nigeria are being rejected because we are not adding value to it, and it's good price.
Let me answer because my producer is saying we should wrap up. The last question I want to ask is this issue of food security. Food security in the context of preservation. We have seen videos, I don't know if you have seen it, videos of people using sniper to preserve beans and rice, and they said this is dangerous. And people use paracetamol or to prepare fufu and all of this. This is we have heard stories of people eating amala and landing in hospital or even dying after eating a plate of rice, only to discover that the pesticides and other things that were used to preserve this are high level chemical that have not expired. So what do you talk, what's your take in 30 seconds about how to properly preserve food?
Yeah, that is the role of the extension workers, need to disseminate information to the farmers. I must be corrected, but presently now the extension service delivery is very poor in the country. Then the takeaway for that again is that we need to encourage the farmers not to do things on the wrong way. We need to look at the way you can also disseminate information on the proper storage and proper harvesting. I agree with you. Food security is also looking at how best food you can get because of your health, not only producing, not availability.
Okay. Do us the honor of thanking our guest. I will be asked to leave the studio, but Michael,
okay. So thank you so much for coming on the program. Thank you for all your, additions, your points. We had so much we learned from. We're hoping your programs, as you move forward, you succeed in them. Keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you very much. I also thank you very much, and I also want to encourage Nigerians that let us not look scope. Let everybody try their own. You can also involve in farming activities.
So that will be the size of our discussion and the size of our program today. I want to thank our crew, the studio manager, the PD, and the cameraman, as well as my co-host, Hope Brown, for this the success of this episode. Please join us next Wednesday when a fresh edition will be brought to your view. Pleasure.